guys? Welcome back in DH. Dear Evan Hansen is closing this September. You happy, haters? You happy? You happy it's closed? You happy it's leaving the music box? I didn't expect Dear Evan Hansen to close. As we know, I've gone over the grosses. It was not doing good, but it wasn't doing horrendous. But then I looked back and I was like, yeah, it's not doing great. So why is Dear Evan Hansen closing? Why? One, the movie damaged the brand. A lot of potential ticket buyers saw it and were like, so I saw this terrible thing, and now you want me to see it on stage? No, thank you. Two, COVID. Dear Evan Hansen came back during the Omicron surge and the surge in the spring. And so it wasn't really able to get its good footing, and all shows went down badly in January. But I think if it had opened in the fall, like Hadestown, it might have not closed in September because they would have had more money in the bank. And the money they had in the bank was not great because they were losing money. The show was doing 500, 600, 400, I think, which is not at all what a show should be doing. The lowest Evan Hansen could realistically get to was 700, but even that's pushing it. And when you see the show in its first couple of years, it was doing so well. People were thinking, oh, Ben Platt makes the show, so he's gonna, when he leaves, the audience is gonna leave. But I think people who invested in the show, they loved the characters, they felt seen, they felt heard, yada, yada, yada. I think Dear Evan Hansen was always fated to close in 2022 or 2021 or potentially 2023. And why? That's because all the way back to 2018, but especially in the late summer of 2019 and into the 2020 when everything closed, Dear Evan Hansen started to suffer dramatic losses at the box office. In 2019, it for the first time hit the 90% capacity range and wasn't making $1 million. And obviously when everything was closing down, it wasn't doing as well. All shows were doing that, so there was a built-in excuse. Dear Evan Hansen was built on a lot of hype, momentum, and synergy and energy and excitement for Ben Platt and for the story. But when people looked at it in retrospect, especially in 2019, people found the character to be problematic, unsympathetic, and something that they didn't want to support or see, and they felt kind of icky watching the show. And it was only good out of context, and apparently a lot of people online thought it was about a gay kid, so I think there was a lot of misconceptions about what the show was about. But when everyone was at home, they found out what the show was really about, and the marketing campaign for Dear Evan Hansen is definitely what you could call subverting expectations, because it labels it as this inspirational show, when really it's a show about teen suicide and death, and very dark themes that turns away a lot of people. One of my family members went and saw the show, and they said they were recommended to it by a friend. But when they saw that, they said, if we knew what it was about, we probably wouldn't have seen it. I also think in a post-COVID world, people want to see stuff like Funny Girl, Music Man, Wicked. They want to see shows that have lots of big production numbers and take you away from your everyday worries. That's what the people want to see. Dramas like Fun Home, Dear Evan Hansen aren't gonna work because people don't want to see those kind of shows because it just depresses them. Which is exactly what happened after 9/11. After 9/11, big musical comedies were all the rage. But then, because everyone wanted to escape the tragedies of the world. But then people were ready to face it, and that's why we got Hamilton, Fun Home, Dear Evan Hansen. Now you might say, well, what about A Strange Loop? A Strange Loop is very dark and complex, but because it's about a gay character, there's a lot of people that are instantly like, oh, no, I don't want to see this. I am not going to go there. And Strange Loop, I would say it's not as depressing as Dear Evan Hansen. I'm just going to say that. Andrew Boy Feldman, I love the guy, but I think he might have made people turn away from it because we started to see decreases in ticket sales when he was as Evan, and I thought he was great, but he wasn't super strong. And people expect Evan Hansen, the character and the actor, to be a certain way. And when they're not living up to the expectations, people are like, oh, I don't really get it. I don't want to see it. I think it got very political. People said that Evan Hansen was very Trumpian, and in this, I think, too ultra-woke culture we're living in, cancel culture that's gotten out of control. Dear Evan Hansen is not a black and white story. It's gray. It's very tricky and complicated, and that's why I love it so much. But in this era, those shows just don't work, and I think the culture's changed too much where it can't work. I also think it's become dated in recent years, and I think people have moved on, and a lot of people just don't like it, simply. And the core fan base that wanted to see it have already seen it, and can't see it again because they're too young. Dear Evan Hansen should not have ever become as mainstream and as successful as it should have been. When you think about what this show's really about, and you say that to a producer, they wouldn't think that the show would win 6 Tony Awards and make $2 million at the box office. So the fact that the show got mainstream is a huge W. It had a great run, but at the end of the day, when you really think about it, this show was not meant to be mainstream at all, but it somehow became mainstream, and I think that's because of the music and how relatable it was. And it's probably the more mainstream than Spring Awakening, but still, I think that the fact that they even made it as long as they did should be a miracle. But anyways, that's the game, that's life. Oh, and Tina closed, but I mean, we all expected that. Hallelujah. Thank you for watching, like, sub, and comment, and yeah, I'm not happy.